Hey, it's Will for ZenXU 2013 Productions. I'm here to talk to you guys about a little bit of Pokemon Go. Now, if you look up on Google, it's got like 33 million hits. So literally, it's like spreading like wildfire across the internet. It's everywhere right now. It's one of the mobile market's biggest games in history, and it's also been recorded to be like bigger than that of like a lot of games that are already out there, as well as like raising like a whole lot of money for like the whole revenue system of Nintendo, just like 7.5 billion I think I just saw. And there's like just a lot of potential in this game. Basically what Pokemon Go is, it's an augmented reality game. You walk around in your towns and your neighborhoods, and there's maybe little stops. Now there's been some hiccups with this game in terms of the people who were using it. You've got people crashing their cars because they're using it irresponsibly. Then you've got assholes using it in ways that only an asshole could figure out how to use it. So basically like Team Rocket type shit. If you're familiar with Pokemon, you'll get that reference. But basically, you're talking about a game that has been highly anticipated, not by just the current gen of Pokemon players, but by the players of games like Pokemon Red, which were released back in 1996 on the original Nintendo. So you've got a huge market for this game already in existence before the game is even out. And ever since a lot of people have heard about it, they've just been wanting to fucking play this game. This is all that's been on their mind. So I gave it a shot. I wasn't really hoping. I thought this might not really come to pass, but it did. It's not a bad game. It has some quirky flaws. There's still some implements they haven't really, or some things they haven't implemented into the game yet. And I'm thinking that's going to come later on down the line. There's a lot of hiccups with servers, things like that. Of that nature. But what I want to talk about is the overall environment of the game, okay, and the way people are playing it. Now, I've noticed in my town, I live in a small town of Alpena, Michigan, and I've noticed that for the most part, people have been pretty nice to me about it. Now, there's been a couple bad eggs here and there. Like I talked to one person, I asked one person like it, letting her know that there was a Poke Center here if she was playing the app, and she's just like, I'm not playing nothing. And so I was like, okay. But as an adult, it seemed like a really good icebreaker. I've met like 4 people just playing this game. 2 of them approached me like the other night, so it was pretty interesting. Today I met someone who was playing it in the park, and then another dude's girlfriend was playing it in the park, and just all kinds of it's been really a interesting social experience. As an adult, you just don't see people saying hi, hey, you're playing this? Yeah, cool. You know, you don't see that, and I think that's been pretty much Nintendo's goal from the get-go. Now, there's some people out there who aren't really like, they aren't really like gonna be out and about on their feet, and there's some people that are like literally learning to play this in ways, I guess you've carpooling, I guess you'd say, where you have someone in the passenger seat grabbing the Pokemon and the designated driver driving other people around. So I have seen that happen in my own town alone, and that's cool. It's whatever, you know. I don't think that's what it was intended for. It was intended to make people more social, but if it gets people out of their homes, more power to it. More power to them too. But being that I've noticed that there's been a lot of people in cars playing this game, and not just, I'm not talking about the people driving it and crashing, because obviously they're not playing it if they're crashing. They were obviously playing it at the time, but not anymore. But I'm talking about like people who are carpooling and using this method to go from Pokestop to Pokestop, and then stopping their car, grabbing their Pokeballs, and going out. You gotta think about the fuel intake. Okay, I mean, I read somewhere on an article that literally, like, shit, there's an Uber driver out there that was going to be taking, like, $10 an hour just to go from Pokestop to Pokestop, and Ubers usually operate in larger cities, so I'm guessing there's a lot of Pokestops he's going to be going to. And for $10 an hour, that's pretty cheap considering it's an Uber driver. Now, I'm not sure if that's flat rate, or if that's something that, you would actually, like, maybe you'd see added to, like, his existing, whatever he's charging you, but it still seems like a pretty cool idea. to cash in on this, because there's a lot of people out there that don't really want to block, and I can't really blame them to the huge extent, like, because I noticed that this thing does eat up a lot of battery power. It eats up like a whole crap ton of battery power, and so I've noticed that this game literally doesn't just eat up batteries, it eats up fuel, it eats up batteries, it's an energy consumer. And so because it's an energy consumer, I'm wondering, do you think that perhaps with the additions of gas in people's gas tanks when they decide that they're going to go out riding and driving, do you think maybe perhaps you're going to see a spike in gas sales in the US, perhaps, maybe? And maybe with how many phones are pretty much going to burn out trying to play this game, or constantly playing this game, do you think maybe perhaps you might see an increase of phone sales? And being that phones are made out of different items, do you think you'll see a sell in those actual materials used to make phones? So do you think you might see an overall economic increase in certain items? And I think this is something to think about, because you got to look at every market out there, and you always see a trickle-down effect. There's always a trickle-down effect. Nothing sells Blu-ray right now more than games. And I know that sounds really, really wrong, but honestly, games were what started it. When PS4 decided, or PS3 decided to put the Blu-ray in their actual systems, that's when most people got them. Blu-ray's players were really expensive at the time, and PlayStation gave Blu-ray the biggest chance it had at pretty much making that household name, but you know, it wouldn't have sold if it weren't for, you know, the gaming market. Now, you take that and you apply that to what is used to make the Blu-ray discs, and you probably got to increase sell in those materials like plastics and metals that were used to make those specific discs. And just you've got a whole lot of trickle-down effect for these different markets. So when you go into like this game and you go to what it's selling, and it's obviously going to be selling cell phone data, that's probably going to be like right up on the list. So you're going to see phone companies getting that do plans going to sell a lot of cell phone data. And if they don't do that, I'm thinking a lot of people are going to go prepaid just for this app, just because it does use a lot of data. And prepaid phones don't typically cost as much in the long run as a say a plan. So I mean, I'm probably be going with a prepaid phone to start playing more of this on my own. Right now I'm sharing a profile with my fiance, and I'm grabbing Pokeballs and she's grabbing Pokemon. I think I helped her get like 4 Pokemon, but I'm just going from Pokestop to Pokestop grabbing those. But in terms of that, I was just raising up the question, do you guys think perhaps, just maybe, we're going to see an increase in certain sales of different items? Do you think it's going to boost the economy? And being that the items that you might see an increase in sales in, do you think it's going to affect the environment? Because we're not exactly at the surplus of the fuel industry right now, because you don't there's a lot of places that just are not running high on fuel. There's not a lot of fuel there, and being that fossil fuels are becoming more and more limited, do you think that this is going to create more limitation, and through the use of these fuels maybe produce more exhaust into the air? It's obviously going to produce more exhaust if more fuels being used, but do you think it's going to produce a sufficient amount to actually affect the environment? I just thought I'd put some thoughts out there, guys. A little bit of thinking, give you guys a think tank to work on. If you guys want to philosophize or whatever, leave your thoughts in the comments down below, and let me know what you think. And if you like little videos like this where I do like some questions and some information, let me know about that too, and I'll be glad to do more. Give me some ideas and I'll try to make them happen. Until then, this is Zenexia 2013, and I'm signing out. So peace.